Will interest rates ever come down to earth? Are we headed for a housing crash? What does the $1.8 billion lawsuit in the United States mean for organized real estate in North America? And as of December 1st, will your neighbor be able to tell you what your house is worth if you're not working with him? Welcome to another Canadian real estate market update. I'm your host, Justin Konikow, and in this video, we're going to talk about all of those topics and more. We're also going to cover the data and forecast what's coming in the coming months, Q1 and Q2 of 2024. If it's your first time to the channel, welcome. This is where people just like you are coming every single day to get the very best in real estate information, access to off-market property and data as we see it live. We own a brokerage in Southwestern Ontario, Canada, and we have focused diversification across all asset classes. So we have a very balanced perspective. And no, I don't need to sell you anything to survive. I just want to create a better environment and a higher standard in our industry. But let's get right into the data. Okay, so today we're going to cover a bunch of crazy stories. We're going to talk about the massive lawsuit in the States. We're going to talk about the TRESA changes coming December 1st. Stick around and wait for those, but let's dig right into the data first. So I always find it helpful to look at the 3-year trend line so you can see the patterns in organized real estate. This is the average sales over the last 3 years. Here's the peak in February 2022 of an average sale price of $983,400 when everybody was saying there's no way this can last. Well, it didn't, folks. And then if you go all the way down to October last year, you're going to see it was around $755,015. And then this year it's $766,820. So prices have actually gone up in the last year. The other thing that I'll note is if you look at this line, note how it bottomed and then it increased and it's bottoming again. And it looks like it's starting to plateau. So we're going to watch this trend line over the next month. Make sure you hit subscribe now to miss the next episode to see if this continues to plateau and head back up or if it goes back down. Which way do you think it's going to go? The volume of new listings hitting the market, look how cyclical this is. Every December, it tends to just drop. And guess what's happening? The inventory hit a peak back in May. A lot of people that wanted that nice high price, they listed in June and they missed the mark. And then now it's on its way down. Meaning by December this year, I bet you that you see the amount of listings on the market drop right off and we're back into that next cycle next year. The total number of homes for sale increased dramatically. So a lot of houses are now hitting the market. People are getting sharper with their price points because they realize we're not going to be out of this anytime soon and better for them to sell now than wait for maybe their mortgage renewal to come up. And the total volume of sales, you'll see there was a peak in March 2022, and there was another one in May 2023, and it's heading back down. So the volume of sales is very cyclical. It happens like this every single year. But two other stats that I think you'll find very interesting is the average days on market. It looks like it obviously dropped right off into May, increased dramatically. A lot of houses listed for longer, but it looks like it's starting to plateau a little bit. So the months of supply, December 2022, 2 months on market, which is how long it would take if we didn't list another property before we ran out of inventory, all the way up to 4.1, meaning we are now in a buyer's market. A seller's market is anything less than 4, balances a little bit in between that, and now we are definitely in a buyer's market. But look at that. It's actually starting to drop off a little bit. So the average days on market means people are probably getting a little bit sharper with their price points, meaning it's selling faster than it was last month. I love looking at the percentage of original list price because if you listed a house for $1 million, it would have sold for $966,000. So you can see kind of the gap between what people are offering and where properties are actually selling. And that's a smaller margin than a lot of people think. I bet a lot of people are looking at $1 million property saying, I'll offer 600. Those deals are not happening as much as you think they are. Doesn't mean you can't negotiate. It doesn't mean you can't find some amazing deals. I guarantee you we've done some buys and gotten screaming deals for our buyers. But at the same time, we can fight for our sellers. You need to be equipped to fight for every dollar in this marketplace. And then if you look at the percentage of list price average, it's actually 98%, meaning if you're priced effectively, you're going to get a 2% gain and you're going to sell for 2% more than you would if you were in a reduction cycle. So if somebody listed their house for $1 million and it sold right away, they get $980,000. If they listed for $1,100,000 and then reduced, they would actually get significantly less. Like you're talking tens of thousands of dollars. So proper pricing does matter. And the average dollar price per square foot at the peak was $591 and we are at $463. So it is still dropping a little bit, which is a good sign from an affordability standpoint. Keep in mind, folks, the total dollar volume of real estate is $3,293,000. And if I go all the way back to October 2023, we are still well above pre-2020 levels. So the actual volume of real estate that's trading, it doesn't seem like it is. is actually much more active of a market than you would think it would be. Another major topic I need to make you aware is as of December 1st, there is a massive change coming to organized real estate. So we are governed by a body called RICO, and the rules of governance were called REBA 2002. And now that's being changed over to TRESA. TRESA is going to change some major things when it comes to how organized real estate works. Let me go over a few of the major ones for you right here. One of the biggest changes that's coming to organized real estate is the elimination of the word customer. So there's two types of representation currently in organized real estate. There is client and there is customer. A client is the highest form of representation. I have to represent your interests above my own, like your lawyer, like your doctor, confidentiality, and I'm working for you. Currently, the other word customer is I'm not representing your interests. I can process paperwork, I can show you comparables, but I can't really tell you that I'm representing you to the highest and best level that I can. A lot of people enter a customer service agreement once they go straight to a listing agent thinking they're going to get a better deal on a property. And meanwhile, they're not actually being represented properly. So RICO wanted to eliminate this. Customers no longer going to be an option. You have to be a client of a real estate agent or a self-represented party. This is where it gets super interesting. So a self-represented party, technically a licensed agent can't give advice to on price. If they show comps to that person, they can only show comps that benefit their client, who's the seller. If somebody wants to go directly and do a deal with the listing agent on property, that agent may not even be able to represent them, and they have to be a designated representative of somebody else at their brokerage. This is a massive change to the industry for a few reasons. People are so used to just talking to agents and getting opinions on everything, and agents having commission breath and just saying whatever to whoever in order to just get a sign on a lawn or get a client. They're trying to push us to become more like financial services and more professional about our business, which I have always been. I typically don't give my AAA deals to people that aren't actually working with me. I don't give my entire pricing and marketing strategy unless you're actually working with me. If you want to hire me, great, we can go to war together, but I'm very clear on who I'm working with and who I am working for. And I think that this change to TRESA is going to be fantastic for our brokerage because we operate like a professional services corporation. I think it's going to be very difficult for agents that don't act professional in an industry where we definitely should be. Another massive change is the sharing of contents of offers will be allowed with written permission from your sellers. So up until now, if somebody gave me an offer of $2 million on a property and I'm mid-negotiating, I can't disclose that number to anybody. And if somebody's disclosing it to you, they are breaking the current code of ethics, and you should review your relationship with those people and think about working with a professional. Well, how this changes the industry, though, is it gives me more tools to negotiate. Who cares if somebody got an offer for X amount of dollars if we're mid-negotiation? If you give me the authority to negotiate on your behalf, then I can go and I can actually talk numbers and get to the best net effective deal for everybody when I'm doing that deal. So I think this empowers us even more. Now let's talk about interest rates. Are they going to come down? Well, the Bank of Canada said, no, they're going to be higher for longer and maybe forever. The Bank of Canada deputy says ultra low rates may not return. Keep in mind, they're saying ultra low rates may not return. They're not saying that the rates are going to stay where they are forever. They're just not going back to like 1 to 2%, which I don't think anybody thinks is a good idea. What they're not saying in this article is stabilized rates of 4 to 5%, a normal saving economy, is where we're headed. December 6th is the next announcement. If they hold rates on December 6th, don't be surprised if by spring, summer of next year, they start heading back towards stabilized rate. What does that mean for the housing market? It means all the buyers that are waiting on the sidelines or have gone into rental properties are going to re-enter the marketplace. Guess what also happened? A whole bunch of new build inventory came off market and is now out there, and you can get a new build house for a fraction of the price that you could have 2 years ago. So once that inventory gets snapped up, there's no new supply coming online, and all these buyers are going to come back into the marketplace. What do you think happens? Jump in the comments and you let me know. We will be tracking the December 6th update. Come back to this channel or hit subscribe so that you get that update and my opinion on it when they make the announcement. Do you think they're going to raise rates? Do you think they're going to hold? Or do you think they're going to lower? I'd be very curious to hear what you have to say. And last but not least, the Sitzer-Burnett verdict that hit the real estate industry last week, a $1.8 billion verdict against NAR and two brokerages, has had a ton of follow-up, but the battle is not over. It can be dragged through the courts in appeals for years. There's more lawsuits being launched. There's lots of people that have opinions on this topic. I've covered it on an entire video on this channel. In my opinion, those who act professional will win in the long run, but this is going to be something to watch for some time. A lot of the conversation around this whole topic, though, is Are we headed towards a market like Australia or Israel or the UK, where things operate more on an auction basis and less from a listing agent, buyer agent perspective? If they completely decouple buyer agent commission, then we're in the marketing game. Well, that's good news for me because we've built one of the biggest marketing machines on the entire planet. When we launch a listing, we get 5 to 10 times the amount of views and leads per listing as realtor.ca. That is data that I can back up. I can look and say, oh, look, realtor.ca got 2,300 views. Look, we got 64,000. That's what we're building because we see that real estate is going to be very different in 10 years than it is today. But these are definitely cases to watch. If you want more information, obviously go see my entire video on this channel. If there's something I didn't cover that is a pressing topic you want covered, let me know. We'll hit you every month with a market update. We have an insiders newsletter where we drop all kinds of data and off-market deals. If you want access to that, jump to the links in the comments. And if you want to set up a meeting with us to discuss anything real estate related, let me know. We are obviously agents that work in the southwestern corridor of Ontario. We do residential commercial investments, but we have a worldwide network. So if you need an agent in Florida, Texas, UK, let us know. We have access to one of the best platforms on the planet. And by being part of the Prime Nation, you are part of that as well. And we'll see you next month.